What's up, ladies and gents, and welcome back to Forza Horizon 5. We are here with a DTM ready seasonal championship. We have to use a retro saloon car in the B class. I am using the 2005 BMW M3, as we so often do, because it's just an iconic car. Tuning share code is in the description, as always. And we are jumping right into race number 1. Now, we are not using off-road tires, even though we are in a dirt championship. The reason for that is, in the B class, the cars are not fast enough to really warrant rally tires or off-road tires. Off-road really useful for cross-country racing. Rally tires obviously useful for dirt racing. But rally tires in the S1 class, definitely. In the A class, debatable. In the B class, just not necessary. Because the cars are not fast enough to the point where you can't handle them with simply regular tires. So that is exactly what we are going to do. We are going to use regular tires. One of the benefits is also that the regular tires are obviously road tires, and you have plenty road sections in the dirt races. So the combination makes it easier to drive with stock tires. Obviously you don't want to use slicks or drag tires for dirt racing. I think that much is obvious. But you also don't have to use rally tires. It's perfectly fine, especially in the B class, to go with a stock tire tune. And then just see how it goes, because like this is perfectly drivable. It's not like we are losing out on the dirt without the dirt tires. And then, especially coming into this road section, you'll also still want to have some grip. And you don't want to end up in a situation where you are just drifting around a lot because your tires are not grippy enough on the tarmac. Going into the dirt again. So race 1 should be in the bag, unless we completely mess up. Which is always possible, especially with the water sections here. It's always possible to misjudge something, or to get a wrong bounce, to fly off. Dirt races in general, not as bad as cross-country races. I think cross-country races are notorious for having a wrong landing, ending up bouncing off something, hitting something. Like, cross-country races notoriously dangerous for that. And the big reason why it's much easier to mess up a cross-country race than it is to mess up a road race or a dirt race. I think road racing probably the easiest one, than either dirt or street, depends. Because dirt races are a little bit harder with the dirt, yes, it's a little bit harder to control, but at the same time street racing has the traffic, which can also be a little bit annoying. So these two kind of tied for second, but really the only one that I don't like and that I consider truly difficult to manage at times is off-road, or not off-road, but cross-country. Because cross-country can go wrong so easily without much of your own doing. And that just makes it dangerous. And that is the big reason why I don't like it so much. Because you have a certain random factor in there where things can go very wrong very quickly, even though you didn't do very much wrong. Obviously it's a lot less predictable, so maybe it can be a lot of fun to watch. I don't know, maybe. Maybe it's more fun when things go horribly wrong. We always have some tearing in that loading screen. Bit annoying, but hey, still working on that new PCA. So yeah, cross country definitely not my favorite. Prefer to stick to the road. On the other hand, having a good cross country tune can probably get me some views at least. Because a lot of people struggle with cross country. And hilariously, some of my most successful videos have been on cross country championships. But that's because the Extreme E car championships back in the day were cross country championships. And people hated the Extreme E cars. And when people hate something, it gets recognition. So that's why those were watched. That was rather interesting, to say the least. Come on. Oh, slamming the brakes, going into that corner. Here again we are on a tarmac section. In a dirt championship, and it's just very important that you can handle both in these championships. You can handle the dirt, you can handle the tarmac. It's just very important. And again, B-class cars are very controllable. So I don't see any huge issues coming here. You're still in the dirt when you're a little bit late. It's just that little bit more attention that you have to pay. On the other hand, when you're a little bit late, you can initiate a drift and hold it so beautifully through the dirt. But here, just drift through. That can be really entertaining, drifting through the dirt. But you can do that with regular tires. I mean, you don't need any specific tires to drift through the dirt. You don't want to do it with drag tires, obviously. You don't really want to do it with slicks, and you probably... Actually, I don't know if you want to do it with drift tires, because I'm not entirely aware of how well they function in the dirt. I'm not even sure what I used in the dirt and drift zones. I can't tell you. Interesting, we had basically the same time as we had in the first lap, but obviously in the first lap we had a standing start. So the second lap really wasn't very good. And the third starts with driving into the wall. That's very promising. Initiating a little bit of a drift here to get through clean. And you get some skill points, that's also useful, right? No, they don't really matter. I usually buy like the first one or two things for each car because it's very cheap. Either money, Forza phone points, or XP. So it's a very cheap 5,000 XP or something, whatever, whichever car it is, may differ in what you get, but with a couple of points you can get some sweet rewards for really no investment at all. I'm not sure why I'm saving the points, so I think I'm up to like 400 again. Because I used to be up to like 600 or whatever, and then I spent them all on I don't know what. Now back up to 400, so they're just piling up for no good reason. I should spend, it's kind of like a wheel spins. I have also 100 of the regular ones and 200 of the super wheel spins saved up. And they're just sitting there, so... It is what it is. It's a huge spoiler on that car. Not sure it's necessary in the B-Class to drive such a gigantic rear wing, but whatever, right? Doesn't look too bad. Oh, a little bit smaller would have been fine. Sometimes it's too big, you know? Sometimes a little bit smaller is just as good or potentially even better. There we go. Time to start into race number 3. And here we go. Obviously we don't need to win it to win the championship, but that's not how we want to drive. When we drive we want to win. That's not on the wrong side here. It's a bit of a mess here. Did he want to drive into us, or what was his plan? Cutting that checkpoint, which we ever so often do. Now we're just driving away from them. You really don't need to brake for a lot of these corners where the racing line is telling you to, so that's where you can really make up some of the time that you might lose in other sections, or you just use it to get a lead or to overtake. A lot of possibilities that you can use this advantage for. So especially here, you saw the red racing line indicating you should brake, you should brake, you should brake here as well, you should brake, and don't. Just don't. Sometimes you need to, but you just need to look ahead, see how is the track developing, can I get through there full throttle, do I need to brake, how hard do I need to brake? So you can't just purely rely on the racing line. For corners like this it's okay to find an indication for a braking point, okay, it's fine, but don't just rely on it. You will be ridiculously slow if you rely on it, especially here. You can look ahead and you see, okay, the corner isn't that bad, we can actually go full throttle. Here, yeah, we need to brake a little bit, but certainly not as hard as the braking line suggested. Here as well, it's still yellow-orange, you can get off the brakes. You certainly want to get a little bit of a feeling for how reliable the braking line is. How did we lose that ring here? That's interesting. But yeah, race number 3 seems to be in the bag. Obviously, everything can happen. There's always a little bit of a danger. But 80% done and a pretty big lead indicates a good chance that we bank our 3rd win. And with one more left-right section, then we're through. We probably shouldn't mess up the straight. Going back on the tarmac. Cutting these checkpoints and finishing in style. There we go. So that gets us 60 points. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. And until next time, farewell.